And, a good natural question that kind of follows up on that, no pun intended. But what mistakes do you feel like people are making that they may not even realize they're doing, that's kind of destroying their follow up and likewise their ability to prospect the client, which may cause them to lose them?
Yeah, I think they're forgetting to follow up. That's killing a lot of people. And I think they're forgetting to follow up because they're so enamored by creating lead flow, buying leads and all that, when they may have a database of 2,000 people that are not getting nurtured. So it's not done intentionally, but they're forgetting those people. They're relying just on email. It's, there's years ago when I started my podcast in 2020, the gentleman that helped me set up kept using the word omnipresence. Never even heard of the word prior to that. So I go, what do you mean by omnipresence? And he's like, well, you want to stay in front of people, and not everyone checks their emails every day. I know my kids don't check their emails every day, and I know others that check email once a month. So this sense of omnipresence, where maybe it's not a direct follow-up, but having a podcast, posting on Meta, Facebook and Instagram, or TikTok and X and all the other platforms. When people get home, what platforms are they on? And I think staying on those platforms and then redirecting them and just saying, hey, if you want more information, you can call me or go to the website. I think that helps as well, because it's convenient. They're already on Instagram. They're already, following certain people. You may just, cover a topic that is, something that they've been trying to tackle. Like, how do you keep a job and have a side hustle, right? Or have a business on the side. Those are the things, like, they just don't know where to kind of start. So omnipresence is huge, but going back to your question, not having that system. So I believe in automating where you can. And then a mistake that I made is, creating tasks in your CRM. If someone says, like, call me in 6 weeks, schedule a follow-up 6 weeks. And then when you do call or email, say, as per our last conversation, you said to call you in 6 weeks. Sometimes I'll say, you know what, 6 weeks, great. Let's book it on the calendar now. That way it'll be on the calendar. You'll get a reminder, and we'll talk 6 weeks from today. Great if they're open to it. But if they're not open to it, those tasks, those reminders are going to be huge, because you're going to forget. There's a million things going on in your business. I have no employees, so I have no one reminding me to call a certain person.
Right. With you being in the podcast space, you're probably familiar with Patrick Ben-David and Valuetainment. And he, well, I guess he still does, but he's kind of pulled back on the business content. But one video he put out a good while ago was he's talking about how to increase your sales, or 10 tips to increase sales. He said, don't be, I forgot the phrase he used, but essentially he's saying, from a sales perspective, don't be a one-night stand. Like, people usually prospect someone once, and they either buy or they don't buy. And regardless of which one they do, then they'll never hear from them again. But if you don't be a one-night stand, per se, from sales perspective, you're long-term, then you'll be great in sales, because someone that you're prospecting, you'll be prospecting them for a full year. But then a year later, they might buy your service because the timing lights up. So don't be a one-night stand in that regard.
Absolutely. I mean, that's, it's as we were saying before, it's follow-up. And when you talked about, customization in the Go High Level, my CRM, you can tag people like, this person is only looking for resales, or this person is only looking for soccer related types of businesses and that kind of thing. And you can do searches for that. So you can really, do a search term for soccer or whatever that term is, resale, and you could maybe pull up a list of 12 and then do an individual call, email, or postcard campaign. But absolutely, the follow-up's there. Even though you offered a call and they weren't ready to move forward, throw another idea at them. I've called people saying, you know what, maybe the timing isn't right, but someone that you should talk to is talk to a funding company. They'll do a free analysis. They may be able to refer you to an attorney, but you'll have a better idea that for when you are ready, how to put together your financials. These are people that maybe don't know how to calculate a net worth or how to put it all together. So offer a value add, offer a person that can maybe help them at no cost or for a discounted rate. they'll remember that. So when timing is better, they'll absolutely come back and say, you know what, Giuseppe helped me, Elijah really gave you some value adds and some things to think about. I'm going to reach out to them and maybe, have that second call.
Indeed. So Giuseppe, I will say this. I think this is great for people that what we've been talking about. I would say it falls in the intermediate sales territory or maybe advanced beginner. But how about we take the conversation to before like we had our podcast or before we were content creators, and we're gonna be looking at the freelancer who's a graphic designer or an electrician or the trade I bring to the table is video editing, so a video editor, and like they don't have like any podcasts or content creation. Like, what did they do in terms of follow up? So how about we play around with like two scenarios? And the first scenario is essentially when you're prospecting someone, but you don't get a response. You send like the first whatever you do first, they haven't responded, but you did get their information. What's the next step that they should be doing follow up wise?
Well, first, you get them in the system and you put some rules together. So maybe if you're in the beginning stages, you put a 30-day reminder in there, something that I do, and to call them or contact them again. Going back to omnipresence, another thing I used to do, and this is assuming I have nothing, I have no content, no show, no book. I'll go in and maybe follow them on LinkedIn, send them a message. A big part of, I think, my success is follow up. I respond to every email, every text, every message. Unless it's, you get some negative comments sometimes online that are just off the wall. That's a whole nother show. But following up with people. Some people don't check email, but they do check LinkedIn. So I'll do that and try to, with the goal of them to potentially accept the request or follow me, and then they'll see, okay, well, maybe they're not checking the email, but they're seeing some of the posts that I'm putting out there. And you don't have to post every day. It could just be a thought or a post a week, and they're seeing that. So you're kind of, dripping on people. But